Hi Brent, thanks for the footage, hope you're well. Just wanted to take the opportunity here to do a quick comparison of your iron swing versus your driver swing. I think the iron swing now is coming on a treat. There's just one little area I want to discuss with you towards the end of the backswing. But there is a stark contrast between the way you're moving with iron versus the way you're moving with driver. Set up pretty similar, just over flexing the knees a little bit with driver, which is leveling out the pelvis. So definitely need to get rid of some knee flex in regards to your driver setup, but overall pretty good. In regards to the iron, knees changing flex constantly throughout the backswing. Hand path a little bit outwards, but we've talked about that in the past anyway. The position you're in at P4, or certainly approaching P4, is drastically improved. You see how the inclination is just lost a little bit and the head comes up a little bit. That's a subsequent effect of the hand path going outwards and the club tracing a line rather than the arc, P1 to 1.5 into P2. So that lead shoulder, if it was working down more, the hands were working in more, the inclination to the ground would be more consistent. Having said that, the tilts at P4 really nice, or certainly approaching P4. Really like where you're at here. In an ideal world, if I had you on the mat in front of me, I would have you stopping at this point. And the reason for that is because the trail side now is supinated, externally rotated, call it what you will. The accumulators have loaded in an appropriate amount. The arms then continue to run a little bit more, and you go from being nicely supinated, externally rotated, into a slight internal position, and that results in that shaft setting just a little bit steeper than you would want it. So that last little move there now, you can see that the body, the pivot, does very, very little, but the accumulators continue to load, and as a result the trail side goes from external to internal. You can see the club head just getting out ahead of the hands a little bit at that point. As I said, move down just a fraction steeper than you would want it because of what I've just discussed. Note the trail knee here, because this is a big difference between your driver swing and your iron swing. Trail knee returns into its forward bend before straightening, allowing you to continuously rotate and hit out at that golf ball. You make a nice move through the ball. You could do with allowing the head to release a little bit more, so sort of try and pick up the flight of the ball a little bit earlier. And you can see there's that tendency to pop up out of the box as you come through, which is very evident when you're swinging your driver. But generally speaking, you know, the moves that we've worked on and the positions that we've discussed are really starting to come together in this swing. You just see that the club is ever so slightly out in front of the hands at P6 because of what's occurred up at the top of the backswing. So for me, at that point, you're done. There's no need to add that extra little bit, which then leads to a slight steepening of the shaft, a sweet spot that's slightly out in front of the hands at P6, and then a tendency to want to pull away with the chest a little bit on occasion, not in that point, to shallow things out. So that would lead to sort of steeper pulls, or if you're hitting down enough from there, you could still make the ball draw because your downward produces a little bit of outward, etc, etc. But certainly needs just tidying up in a couple of areas, but overall very happy with the progress. In regards to the driver, so a little bit too much knee flex at address. Now the takeaway here, the hand pat's the same as with the iron, but the change in flex of the knees is nowhere near as good. So for whatever reason, when you get a driver out, you don't work the knees as well as you do when you get an iron. So you see how you hold on to the flex in the trail leg for too long. The tilt in the pelvis is too level. There's a lot of flex being maintained in the pelvis, a lot of flex being maintained in the trail knee. The hands go deeper for longer because of that. So you can see there's a stark comparison between the two P4s at that point. Now from here, the trail knee drives hard towards the golf ball. So we don't extend the trail leg in the backswing, and then we drive it hard towards the golf ball. Now as we do that, you can see the head starts pulling away from the box. As you come through, there's that loss of inclination as you saw with your irons, but because we're moving quicker with much more force and we're starting from a more crouched position, it's pulling you up and away at such a rate that you then lose your balance to the left hand side. So my main concern here is the way the knees work. I want to try and get P4 looking more like we've got it with your iron, because we're getting really close with your iron to where we would want it. And we've got to start educating that trail side what to do. So what I'd like you to do is spend some time, predominantly when you practice now, if you can. I appreciate that this is not always the case, but if you can, spend as much time hitting driver as possible. I'd like you to take your normal setup, and then I'd like you to take the trail leg and pull it back so that the trail foot, the toe end of the trail foot, is behind the heel of the lead foot. So what that's doing is that is putting your trail leg in an extended position to start with. It will position the trail hip up and back a little bit more to start with, so you're sort of presetting what you see on the left hand side when you're hitting your iron. The other thing that this adapted setup is going to do is it's going to discourage your trail knee from driving towards the golf ball. Now when you do this exercise, if you can send me a little bit of footage across when you first start to do it, because I may want to adapt the trail foot position to help encourage a little bit better action in regards to the trail knee. But for now, just take the normal setup, pull the right foot back. So it's the bowler drill where you pull the right foot back so that the trail toe is behind the lead heel. And then from there, I want you to concentrate on taking the hands in on the way back and swinging the arms out on the way through. So when you're doing the bowler drill, I'd like to see you hitting a lot of sort of mid pushes. So if you're hitting up a fairway here, you feel like you're going to push the ball just inside that tree line rather than trying to make it go sort of up the centre of the fairway. So right foot drawn back, putting the trail leg and the trail hip into an extended position, discouraging the knee from driving towards the ball. So the knee driving towards the ball and the head pulling away are directly linked, and we need to start getting the P4 on the driver looking more like the P4 on the iron swing. When you do hit some irons, we just need to tidy up that last little bit of the backswing. So what I want you to do is I want you to have a focus when hitting irons of only swinging to 3.5. So the feel is to swing to 3.5. In reality, you'll go a little bit beyond that. Maybe sort of that for me would be ideal for you at P4. But in relative terms, you'd be swinging to sort of 3.8, maybe 3.9. So mindset is 3.5, then hit with an iron. And then in regards to your driver, we want to make sure that we're doing that bowler drill and educating that trail side what to do. Same feel, 3.5 only during the backswing. Good luck with it, and I look forward to watching the progress over the coming weeks. We're going into lockdown now, so should be relatively straightforward to organise some face-to-face sessions through Messenger, and we can keep, obviously you can keep me posted on a daily basis as you see necessary in regards to anything else regarding your golf. Thanks a lot, speak soon.